Hi, my name is Phil Milligan. I'm from Eureka, Missouri, near St. Louis, but I'm visiting family here in Mountain Grove, Missouri, actually rehabbing my wife's grandfather's house that we've just purchased. COVID has affected all of us in a lot of different ways. We just about 2 weeks ago lost a very close friend. He and his wife both had COVID. His wife was the babysitter for my daughters when they were very young. And they were very, very careful. They were trying very hard to get the vaccine, but they both contracted COVID. They both ended up in the hospital a couple of times, but David ended up in intensive care, made the decision that he did not want to go on a respirator, and he passed just a couple weeks ago, leaving a wife, 2 grown children, and 4 grandchildren. It was very, very, very sad situation. They were trying so hard not to get this terrible illness, but unfortunately.
You said she visited him, though.
She was able to visit him since she was in and out of the hospital as well, and since she had COVID, they let him visit, or let her visit him, and she was able to be with him.
And did they have a funeral?
No. They're planning to have a memorial, hopefully within a few months.
Have you or your family, immediate family, had it?
No one in my immediate family has had it, and we're very fortunate. My wife and I are retired, but I do some side gigs. I teach on the college level, but I've been able to do that through Zoom. I supervise student teachers, but I've been able to do that digitally as well. My wife has MS, so we have been very, very careful because it would not go well for her if she got it. Both my daughters are in education. One's a teacher, one's an administrator. The daughter that's a teacher is actually going back physically to her classroom for the first time in a year today, because they've been virtual this whole time. So we've been very fortunate.
But it has been a year, almost to last week, since the WHO declared it a pandemic. It's interesting that your daughter's going back teaching after a year.
It is.
Have your family parties and get-togethers, Thanksgivings, Christmas, have they all been curtailed, or?
Yes, we've pretty much been with just a very small circle of family. My grandson turns 2 in May, and so his first birthday party was planned to be a huge extravaganza, and it ended up being just a very, very quiet affair with just family. Christmas was very low-key, Thanksgiving was very low-key, with just a very few people interacting.
Now, has it affected you, your friendships or your social networking or your home life?
I think to a certain degree. I'm a music minister at my church, and we've been doing recording all of our music, video recording all of our music, and for a long time we weren't even in church in person, but we are back in person now, but with very few people, and we're just now starting to transfer into live music, and that praise team is kind of a big part of my social group, and it's been a tough thing. We've had I've had smaller praise teams, and we've really not all been together at the same time for about a year.
There's been some controversy. You can get your mask if you want.
I didn't realize
Val. There's been some controversy about people going back to church and when they can go back to church, and especially singing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the church that I go to, we have erred on the side of caution for sure. Many churches around us were open before we started back in person. When we started back in person, we started back everyone wearing a mask, which we're still doing. Very limited attendance. We're a church of about 175 or 200, and we're only having about 50 people. In fact, we usually have less than that. We've actually had some families who disagreed with that approach and thought we should have opened sooner that have left our church. So it'll be interesting once everything is completely opened back up, to see, who's still standing, who we still have, and who is left.
Has it affected your? Have you taken up any new hobbies? Have you changed at all this last year?
I don't know that I've taken up any new hobbies. I have so many hobbies that I probably need to drop some more than anything. But I'm a guitar player. I probably practiced a little bit more. I'm a bicyclist. Unfortunately, through the winter months, it didn't help me much because I didn't bicycle much in the winter. But I did, when the weather was nicer, I spent a little bit more time on the bike and that sort of thing. Spent, obviously a lot of time at home with my wife, which was nice. But no,
there's a lot of talk about how that affects marriages. Some people have said it's deepened their marriage, and some people have said it's led to tension.
No, I think it's definitely led us to be closer, just spending more time together and
if you were to say this year versus other years on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst and 10 being the best, how would you say this year overall was for your mental happiness and mental health?
I mean, I would say that it has been, in whole, if you take the whole year as a whole, it's probably been the most difficult year that I've experienced. I mean, just because you just feel like you have this cloud hanging over your head for an entire year. It's very difficult.
Has it made you think about life and death more?
Somewhat. I mean, I'm right at 60 years old, and so you do start to kind of think of your own mortality. And then when you have something that happens that kills more than 500,000 people in your country, and then when it starts to hit home like it did a couple of weeks ago, it does make you stop and ponder a little bit.
And that's where I'll leave it. Do you have any final thoughts?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to share. I think this will be a wonderful project.
We are on the, what did you say date it is today, 16th?
The 15th.
The 15th of March. We are in a very foggy mountain grove, and I had to stop from riding because I don't believe I will be seen. And thank you very much.